Hi everybody, welcome back to E3D Designs. Realized the other day I never really gave you guys a good overview of what my Chimera upgrade will do for your Da Vinci printer. So the plan for today, I'm going to go over all the parts that we're going to put into the Da Vinci. I pulled one off my rack that I've already upgraded, put it over here on the turntable. We're going to take it for a spin, see everything that I've added to it and the improvements we've made to it. And then I'm going to go through some of the links where you can download the files for the upgrade, where you can purchase most of the parts for the upgrade. So, Starlord, what do you think of that plan?
Let's talk about this plan of yours. I think it's good, except it sucks. So let me do the plan, and that way it might be really good.
Wow. Well, I'm sure many of you saw he wouldn't even talk for Walter over at Country 3D, and well, maybe he should have just kept his mouth shut. But I'll let y'all be the judge. If you like the video, hit the like button. If you like my channel, subscribe to the channel and ring that bell so you hear about more updates. So, let's get this video started. Alright, so let's go over the parts we're going to use for our Chimera upgraded Da Vinci. Alright, the most important part of this upgrade is our new carriage to hold the E3D Chimera Hotend. It'll use a standard aluminum belt clamp to hold to the belt. I also designed this parts cooling fan duct to go with that carriage, as well as a nice looking fan shroud if you want to use it. There's also an E3D version out there. This is the cable chain mount that'll go onto the chassis of the printer. This here is designed to hold the bed thermistor. It's designed to use the original Da Vinci thermistor. These are the Z carriage extension brackets. Let us go to that larger 200 by 200 print bed. And this is a bracing bracket for those. Yeah, I put a little bit of branding on there. Some new thumb screws that are much easier to adjust and see as opposed to the original ones that were hard to reach and you can never tell if you were turning them. Decided not to go with the cheap $10 all-metal extruders from eBay. Went down to Printed Solid and bought myself a Bondtech BMG. Actually a pair of them because they do make them in a left and a right-hand model. Can't wait to put that in there, give it a try, and put that cool looking sticker on the front of my printer. In the corner of the Da Vinci chassis are some holes that parts tend to fall into, so we printed some caps to cover those up. One of those caps also gets used as a cable chain holder. These here are the parts we're going to use in our next episode for upgrading the Y-axis bearings so that we can replace the original ones that have this nasty tendency to break while you're printing and we don't want our belts to get loose. This here is your X-axis tensioner and we're going to replace this so that we can put bearings on our pulley so that we're not melting the pulley into the carriage. Going to go ahead and replace the Z-axis coupler with a flexible model. Seems to improve my print quality a little bit. This here is designed to hold an SD card holder so we can move that SD card from the back circuit board to the front of the printer if you want to be able to do straight off SD card prints. These are the two cables you'll need to do that. One is micro SD for plugging into the circuit board and it switches over to a regular SD, and then this is another regular SD to SD so we can get the full length we need to get from the back of the printer to the front of the printer. I couldn't find anybody that made one with a cable long enough to do it. Our beautiful E3D Chimera Hotend, what makes this whole thing possible. Thank you E3D. Some 10 by 15 cable chain. We'll use all but about 5 links of this. Should you want to continue using your drip trays, I did make 2 thinner ones so that you can still have drip trays and the larger print bed. We have our MK2 style heated print bed, printed circuit board. We have a Prusa i3 all aluminum Y carriage that we're going to use to be our bed mount. And some 3 mil thick silicone adhesive back that we're going to use as a little bit of an insulator between all this. And that basically covers all the parts we're going to use with the exception of one. I couldn't get my hands on another glass plate quick enough for this build, so we're just going to take one out of my other printers. So let's move on. Alright, so let's cover some of the websites where you can find these parts. Alright, on Thingiverse, the Vinci Duo 2.0 Chimera Edition with 200 by 200 print bed upgrade. It's designed to hold that E3D Chimera Hotend. Going down through the files here, as you'll see, everything in here. Some of this stuff is outdated. I don't use the circuit board anymore. And you'll notice on here, there's also the Repetier Chimera 200 zip. This is the file you will need to flash your circuit board. We'll cover all that in future videos. As you saw the corner brackets I printed, here's the link for them. The new Y-axis bearing holders. Here's that new X-axis belt tensioner designed to use bearings. As I mentioned, I didn't have a borosilicate glass bed for that. Here is the link to E3D to get that. You can also contact Printed Solid. They can also order that in for you if you don't want to order straight through E3D. Now for all the nuts, bolts, screws, heat sets, here's the McMaster-Carr website with all of them on here. Now, you may not want to go this route and order them all in if you don't want to spend $75.20 for all the hardware and the drill bits and other parts and tools that we'll use in the upgrade process. If you want to go down to your local hardware store and buy 1s and 2s and 3s of certain items, you're welcome to do that. And me personally, I go through so much of this stuff, I stock up on it as I go. And for easier viewing, here's the shopping cart all laid out with part numbers and they come in certain quantity packs. One thing I didn't mention, to put the top cap on the carriage itself, it does take 2 of these thread cutting screws. You can get them through Fastenal. If you decide you want to wire up your carriage like I do with a little plug, so you can disconnect it, take it out, and service it easier later without having to unsolder everything. Here's the part numbers and for everything for the connectors and for the pins for that. On eBay you can find almost everything else for this upgrade, a couple of the major components, and you can find plenty of 200 by 200 MK2 style heat beds, as well as you can also find plenty of Prusa i3 universal Y carriage aluminum plates. And if you don't want to spend the money I did for the Bontex, here are the all metal, cheaper all metal that you can get in a left and a right. You will need one of each. If you want to spend the money I did, you can go out to Printed Solid. They're $80 a piece, and as I said, they're available in a right hand and left hand. And like I said, if I didn't cover the specific part, pretty much everything can be found either on Amazon or eBay. Alright, so let's take one of my upgraded models for a spin. Alright, here on the front you'll see the SD card reader mounted in place, as well as the power switch relocated to the front. On the top here you'll see this beautiful dome, so you can actually watch your print bed. Make sure you've got your Z-bed axis all level and everything. Let's take that off so we can look at stuff later. Now the original spool carriages went down in here. You could mount one in there and set it on an adapter, something like this, but you can't fit 2 spools side by side, so I've moved the the spool holders out here on the back. You can see the left and right all metal extruders mounted here on the chassis. There's actually 2 holes already there on your chassis. So let's fire this thing up. Alright, so just so you see the difference, there's our old print bed, and that's how much bigger we can get it. Alright, well that pretty much wraps it up. Remember, if you liked this video, smash that like button. If you want to see more like this, subscribe to the channel and ring that bell so you get updates as I put out more videos. And remember, if it ain't broke, upgrade it. Till next time.